turn to ban. Dire team ban. Phoenix's turn to pick.
Slada.
Dire team pick.
Back to the NanYang to SCA qualifiers. This is game 2 between Execration versus MVP. Execration taking a game 1 off of MVP. Korean Overlords. I wasn't actually expecting this to happen, but my name's Denley. I'm going to be a caster, and we have Baseskip going to be caster. Seat with Lyrical in the Observer slot. How are you doing, Baseskip?
Yeah, doing good. Looking forward to this game. This is looking a little bit more like MVP out of the gate. They've got the duo Slardar, so we'll see if they can do a little bit better here in game 2.
Yeah, would you say that going in the right direction here for MVP would be to go back to traditional picks? Because as it stands, here's this game. We're out of the NanYang Championships, which for them obviously is going to be a bit of a bummer, because at this point, they want to play as many lands as possible before the qualifiers. They take this game off of Execration, or will it be Execration to continue on the NanYang group? We'll have to see. But the thing to note is they do maintain Faceless Void and Slaughter, but saw Execration perform very well with Nando on that Faceless Void. Anything, do you think that they may consider putting Nando on the Void again, or would you say that it could be an open slot?
I think it's a little bit too early to say. I think they still have the opportunity to put the Void either in the off lane or in the safe lane. It's just going to depend on, what they feel that they can get away with. I think we have actually seen Faceless Void safe lane be fairly successful in general, at least in the last patch. Haven't seen a ton of it in the new patch since it is very recent, but I would expect to maybe see it off lane. I think it's a tiny bit more likely, but overall it could still be either.
So MVP going for another Tinker ban. Some of these bans coming out from MVP, like, did teams scream each other often? Are there hero picks from Execration that are typical? Like, the only time we saw Tinker and Miller was RV, wasn't it? They had Denti. Outside of that, the hero just hasn't been popular.
Yeah, we haven't seen a lot of it, but MVP, they've banned the Puck and the Tinker 2 games running here, so they must have either they've done a little bit of research, or they just feel that these heroes are particularly obnoxious to deal with them for their strategies. I'm especially surprised to see the Puck ban, because I feel like we saw a decent amount of Puck during the Manila Major, and it turned out that it had like a 25% win rate or something like that at the conclusion of the tournament, and the hero totally disappeared sort of even after the first day of the main stage play. So I'm surprised to see MVP Phoenix banning it in the first round of bans.
So final ban here for MVP. They got rid of an offlane this time. It was a Beastmaster. Now Beastmaster has been a hero that's received a lot of positive games really at Manila. Beastmaster was prime offlaner you have, because you have the Hawk Vision, BKB Piercing Disable, very strong laner. You as that really greedy position 4, which I think a lot of teams now have just sort of taken up and said Beastmaster's too good to pass up. We'll just take position 4 if anything. Prevent that vision. If anything, would you say that Execration, one of the factors of that game was also every single time Execration, they always knew where to go for these jumps. Like, I don't know how they did it. Where half the time.
I think a lot of the early game was actually the fact that MVP, if you think back to that game, a lot of their early deaths were actually like little clusters of 1 or 2 heroes running around, but they were doing it on the enemy side of the map. I think you know, they were trying to bring the fight to Execration, and they responded really nicely, but I don't think it was anything particularly to do with Vision. I think it was just Execration being really ready to take any fight that MVP Phoenix presented them with in the early stages of the game. And see some Elder Titan here. I'm a fan of this hero. Some more combo potential with the Phaseless Void as well. So Execration really loading up on the team fight right now.
Yeah, that really does seem to be. And it also takes off some heroes or prime heroes that you normally would pick up table just because of natural order. I think very well with what Execration has, whereas for MVP, gone back for the Batrider to go for what supposed to be a very aggressive style with Batrider coming in, flaming lassos, AA coming in, Ice Blast. Is there a chance MVP plays this bat similar to the interesting bat build we saw in no lasso till level 8 or 9? Everything else, and then did not lasso till.
Yeah, the kind of survivability and damage oriented bat. Some people build a drum on it, some people go for an early Aether Lens. I think it is a distinct possibility. I think especially when you've got an Ancient Apparition on your team for the Ice Vortex, when you're talking about having lots of damage from Sticky Napalm and Firefly, and that only being amplified up by Ice Vortex on top of everything. I think that's a distinct possibility for MVP. And I like the way that their lineup is looking at the moment. They've got a lot of different ways to set up kills. You sort of take any pairing of two of their heroes, and they can quite easily find a kill pretty much anywhere on the map, and that's going to be especially important against the Sven, as it does look like Execration are going to be going relatively greedy again this game. They've got the Phoenix and the Elder Titan as supports, so as much as the Elder Titan can move around and he can apply some pressure in the early stage of the game, they both want their levels, they both want a little bit of gold to work with as well. Sven also kind of greedy as a carry, though we do sometimes see sort of the no-tail build where he just goes for an armlet into a blink as opposed to the Dominator, which is very common in pubs. But yeah, this is looking a lot more like MVP's wheelhouse.
Someone that's going to scale with Blada, as well as benefit from armor. In the pool here for Juggernaut here, just have that up, having Omni Slash and a hero gonna be able to scale with the anti-damage, or
5 seconds remaining.
I think the Jug could be a decent grab here. There is you do have to think about the Warcry a little bit, and I think that's part of the reason that Execration have gone for this Sven, is somewhat of an answer to, well, a little bit of an answer to the amplified damage. It looks like Execration think that Rider is going to be off lane, but I do think that there is the possibility that it could be Batrider on the mid lane. I don't know what that would necessarily open up for MVP Phoenix here to put in their off lane. Maybe if they wanted to try and get some team fight of their own to take any kind of 5-on-5 action against Execration, they could jam a Tide or something into this lineup, and then have the possibility of having the Tide counter initiate against the Chronosphere and things like that. But I guess we'll have to see. The Jug mid was relatively popular during the major, so that is something to consider, and I think that's a fair point.
Absolutely. So Queen of Pain as well as Death Prophet are the final bans for both Execration and it. So it looks like everyone's expecting solid casters, potential mid squads. MVP not hiding in that bag of yours. Another tense game, and they end up going for the Viper pick. Now, I personally am not a big fan of Viper. What do you feel this Viper is going to provide to MVP? Obviously, it's going to be rather strong during the laning phase, but outside of the laning phase, when is the Viper going to get back to the side of just a strong lane?
I think what MVP Phoenix are aiming for here is a sort of a more refined version of what their lineup, well, not necessarily what their lineup last game was supposed to do, but they're really, I think what they're looking at here is aiming to punish the greed of Execration. The Viper isn't really going to have too much trouble against any kind of Elder Titan rotations into mid, and I think Crit was really the big ET player of the major, and that's sort of what he was doing with his time, was just sort of hanging up mid, throwing out the spirit occasionally, harassing a little bit while still sort of sitting out of experience range, throwing out some stomps, and just being a nuisance. But that's not really going to be too much of a problem for the Viper. The Viper can pick up an early mech as well, which I think will be a big boon for their team in terms of being able to take some of these early fights against the big AoE that Execration are bringing to the table. And I think the Viper also scales surprisingly well when you talk about having a slaughter on your team as well, and just the right click from the Viper on top of being able to have the Viper strike to kite the Sven around a little bit in fights. So I actually like this Viper selection quite a bit. I think it does put MVP on a little bit of a clock, and the one issue that they might run into is potentially pushing up onto the high ground. But if the game goes the way that they're hoping for it to go, they should have like a 4 or 5 tower advantage, sort of around 25 minutes or something like that, and then they can just use their item advantage to be able to break the high ground potentially.
So we are finally in the game. This is game 2 between Execration versus MVP. This is a very important game for MVP. They need to win this to make it to game 3 so that they have a chance at least making it into the finals of the Qualifiers for NanYang Season 2. Whereas for Execration, it's more or less smooth sailing. This is a buffer game. If they do lose, they have one more chance, but playing this safe. So for now, we had Execration. They did smoke up the team, everyone under the cover of smoke. Not really the best time to grab any kills to down. So 4F shows himself, he should be more okay, and he actually sees them because he has that water. He has vision of them. No one's gonna die, no one's gonna be surprised. There's no birthday parties today. BP, because they saw everyone on Execration up top, they're bringing the entire team except QO top lane as well.
Yeah, it looks like they're keen to make some kind of attempt here. I don't know if they've pieced together that Execration were actually smoked and that maybe that this ward has gone down in the mid lane, but it does seem to suggest that Execration are actually keen to get the Phoenix and the Elder Titan rotating potentially to come and apply pressure mid and shut down the Viper, since it is somewhat of a weak point for MVP's lineup. If the Viper doesn't get off to a decent start, and if he dies maybe once or twice in lane, then they're not going to have the mech, they're not going to have that sustain, and they might not have everything that they need to be able to take the early fights in the early towers, since they do really need to get some of those early towers down to help out the Batrider a little bit. They might stack up the jungle for him as well to help secure the Blink Dagger, but I think the tier 1 tower gold is also going to be an important part of making sure that 4F has the gold that he needs this game.
Okay, so it looks like everyone's just shifting into that now. So 4F on that Batrider going to be up top here. Going up against a Sven as well as an Elder Titan Phoenix tri-lane. Oh, actually, never mind. Down the bottom lane, it's like RR's going to be okay. Getting harassment here from the Earth Spirit as well as Ancient Apparition duo. Be a bit of a scary lane for both off lanes. Although for 4F, he's got options. He can move into as a Faceless Void. He doesn't have Iron Talon yet, so RR can't really jungle soon. He's gonna have to finish up the Iron Talon if he wants to go in there, but it's gonna be a tough one for the Void as he's gonna go back for some body blocks, and 4F at least gonna be able to soak up a little bit of that EXP. Lane matchup now. This is Arbet on the Wind Ranger going up against MP Viper. So it looks like MP has more or less dominated the lane. Arbet taking quite a bit of harassment, has the 1 point into Wind Ranger, holding onto that second point in case he needs it for anything. Wind Ranger's gonna play it out safe up until that level 4-5.
Yeah.
Bebby coming in for a bit of backstab here onto RR. Be able to kill him or anything. He's gonna look at him. Bebby's like, oh, it's not Medusa.
So Execration messed up their lane control a little bit at the start of the game, and they ended up getting a double range creep. So the lane pushed forward. They did manage to get off a pull pretty much immediately and kind of reset things, but because they lost control of the wave like that, 4F has managed to grab level 2, so he's ready to start sort of jungling up a little bit or stacking or being able to move around. However, MVP have been much more crisp on their lane control bottom, and they've given the Faceless Void pretty much nothing. He does almost have his level 2 now, but advantage MVP in terms of how these lanes have gone so far. No problem. What else to talk about? The mid matchup is definitely Viper favored for the early stages, but once the Wind Ranger starts to get some more points up in the power shots, you can just spam the wave, and that's something that Viper is fairly weak against, since you don't really have any ways to fight back. So I think the Wind Ranger will start to pick things up a little bit after that point. He's picked up a Bassi, which is nice for damage. I'd actually like to see him just leaving the Bassi on and pushing the wave forward. The disadvantage of that is that it makes him more exposed to Earth Spirit rotations, like the one that's coming in right now, but it prevents the Viper from getting up in his face if the creep wave is always pushing into him.
So at this point, would you say for Execration, they just sort of need to survive this phase, and then they should be good to go going in? If MVP has... If snowballs now, it looks like it could be quite scary up in the top lane. It looks like that going to be jumped on. Not get hit with the laser for a little bit, so he just fireflies over the tree line. So 4F doesn't drop, but he may need to consider going back to Fountain. And then they jump here onto Arbet. He does have the wind run, so that's going to mitigate all attempts from M. Unfortunately, no level 6, so no Viper Strike. Wind Ranger safe. 2 heroes surviving for now. Nobody dying, but we have another backstab coming. Mo wanting to go onto 4. Rather low. 4 down and sees him going back, so attempt. But they make his tower now that he's left the lane. Well, down that bottom lane, you got Arm fighting up against QO. QO playing very aggressive here, just trying to harass out RR. Sure, he doesn't get that much, but point. Is only level 2. This is not really a game for the okay scenario to be in. Like, he's getting much in lane. Feel that may have to consider going into the jungle with an Iron Talon, or and wait till they have that opening so he can some EXP.
I think he's gonna start picking things up a little bit from here. He knows that the Earth Spirit is on mid, so
she just stop in the mid lane, but no follow up to MP.
I like the way that QO is playing this bottom lane. His supports gave him a little bit of an advantage and made sure that the Void had a very low level to start out, and he's got tons of regen remaining, and he's got the Helm of Iron Will, so at every opportunity he's just running up and punching the Void and trying to trade right hits, right clicks, and just chewing through that little bit of regen that the Void has. That's R grabbing here. Just gonna get his boots up. He's got some vision off to the side as well, which is just about to fade, so maybe he'll have to start playing this a little bit more cautiously.
So overall in terms of CS, we're at 5 minutes in. You've got the Sven leading on 39 to 50 CS. So he's doing very well in the top lane, practically abandoned by the Bat Rider because he knows there's really nothing up him. 4F's catching up in the jungle, so this is not a bad place to be if you're the Bat. He can still get reasonably timed blink. It just means that they need to be aware that Nando is going to have a time for the first 10 minutes of the game. Then after the Sven, it's 3 MVP. His laning phase is going more or less picture perfect here for MVP. I hope this is going to be enough to at least provide them some momentum to come into that mid game strong. They have a rather early peak point, and their late game does not look that attractive. Not to say that it's not existent, but their mid game definitely more appealing if you're want to capitalize on that if anything.
Yeah, if once Execration really get themselves established and they manage to assemble their team fight, then I think it's going to be very, very difficult for MVP. But they have taken a relatively greedy route with the Sven going for this Helm of the Dominator as his very first item. So he's kind of going to be the ticking time bomb this game that MVP are going to struggle against, and we're just going to have to see when those first movements start happening. The big timings, of course, are going to be the Viper Mech and the Bat Rider Blink, but what exactly those item timings end up turning into is going to be the big question for MVP.
If anything, if you're MVP, you're waiting on 4F to finish up that Blink.
Yeah.
As it stands, they don't really have the best initiators. The only one that can actually initiate right now is Dubu, but it's an Earth Spirit. You need everyone on the rest of your team to be there in time, and half the time the Earth Spirit's going to be caught out by himself, and enough disengagement enough. Lane looks like harassment onto MP. He does get slapped up. They're going to go for a power shot to whittle him down. kill him off though, as Viper's rather tanky up in that top lane, and they managed to catch out Dubu. Ulti's popped in from Nando. They won't get him. They didn't have a stun available, but team comes in from Bevy. Oh, that cleave!
Radiant's top tower
Oh,
is under attack.
just off the creeps as well. Nando hitting like a truck. Dubu sticking around. Stun is there. They go for the cold feet. Can Nando kill off Bevy? Looks like they get him first blood secured on Tim's on that Phoenix. Nando looking for more. He wants Dubu. Chemo is here. He's actually getting ready to go for a bit of a sleep if he out Dubu. They do see him. Super getting deployed, and it looks like they should be able to grab this kill. Sunray, and that's going to be it. 2 supports in the of Execration, and it's going to be a tower as well. Already off to a very strong start for Execration.
Yeah, this is the dream start. Ben, he's got a kill, he's got assist, he's got his dominator. They're already stacking things up. No movements from MVP just yet to block out those ancients. So they're really gonna have to make things happen with the first couple of item timings. It does have his armlet picked up, and I guess that's the other thing to talk about. We mentioned the Viper and the Batrider a whole lot, but the Slaughter is also another hero that's going to be able to, past a certain point, start running around and start setting things up for the team as well. And that's really where we can start to see the strengths of the MVP lineup. RR actually in trouble. Dies straight up.
He was not expecting that bash from Q. Rather unfortunate, but taken down very, very quickly, and that's going to be some tower damage as just taken down in this bottom lane. So MVP, they grab a kill, which is nice. It was on QO. Anything earlier the blink dagger onto QO, the better, because it just fits the style of play that QO has in general. It just needs a gap closer. You give him a gap closer, he goes for those plays.
Oh no, Dubu. They can see him? Yeah.
Do they know him? Oh, there they go.
Lose life, but not spirit.
Getting some revenge. He died earlier, but able to get a gold off the head of Dubu. So that was rather unfortunate for Earth. Just a little bit more, and he would have actually been able to go either onto the low ground or even into the Roche pit, but unfortunately just getting caught out here of all places. Someone give him a tissue. He's probably not feeling too happy.
Yeah, he's kind of messed up his skill build as well. He doesn't have a point in the silence yet. He's actually got 2 in Boulder, which is not at all common. Most people will max out the Boulder Smash and the Geomantic Grip before they even look at a second point in Rolling Boulder. So I think that's just a bit of a misskill. I don't know if it would have saved his life there to be able to get the balance off, but be a bit of a nuisance for him moving forward. He did manage to block up the Ancients, but only for a fraction of a second. Execration came in immediately, dropped in 2 sentry wards, and cleared the camp out.
Oh, this is the lasso as well, popped by 4M. This was also the debut of his blink, but they can't even get the kill onto Tim's. He just dives out, but here comes the chase. No, it looks like walk up to KFC quite safely as 4M doesn't get stopped. Jump down from RR, and it looks like both squads are trying to get over the other. No one really able to get a grip of it. So nobody dies for now, but now Execration knows that the blink is up for 4M, so this is no longer going to be a surprise factor. Every single time you would want to get a surprise kill with the first showing of the blink. The Execration know they're going to be playing a little bit more cautiously if they can't do that.
Yeah, I like the way that Execration moved there as well to go and clear out the stack. They knew that there was some kind of chance that MVP might run over and try and contest. They can't necessarily clear the Ancients all that well themselves, but they could have been looking for some kills, trying to slow down the Sven. So they just bring all 5 heroes there. Everyone stands around, watches the Sven take the stack, make sure that they get that 100% secure. And now they're going for more.
And I go for kill here onto QA, but where's the damage from him? Doesn't do anything. Nando is melee, he can't do anything. They're gonna finish Supernova first. There goes the Phoenix. QA second to follow. So once a while, carry for support. Nice blast gets thrown out. It's gonna drop to the Viper. Gets to play, but Nando, he's being incredibly slowed as Chemo, his ally, chopped to bits, and now Nando by himself. Stun is there, but he really can't do anything by himself. TP out gets cancelled by the main break. That looks like it's gonna be it for Nando. Trying to go for a kill onto Dubu before he dies, but can't quite get it. Finally.
One less prospect.
Probably the first convincing fight they've taken in this series.
Yeah, really nice Boulder Smash from Wu there as the Chronosphere went down. He stunned 2, I think, and he managed to cancel the Sunray as well, so really preventing all that damage from being poured into QO, and that gave them the opportunity to get a couple more spells off and be able to respond. the supernova. I'm a little bit surprised that Execration went for that. I guess they just wanted to. They were all there anyway because they just cleared out that ancient stack and they had the chronosphere, so they wanted to try and get some kind of a kill. They knew that the lasso was on cooldown as well, but a very aggressive play given sort of the way that the two lineups match up against one another right now. I would expect to see Execration just kind of taking full advantage of their jungle, farming as much as they can, being a little bit greedy, and being ready to fight underneath their buildings if MVP ever come 5-manning.
Where is also very, very close to his. Not the game that you. Around the jungle. They spot out Tim's. Tim's wants to just go for a stack, but QA spots him out. Not really kill him by himself.
Nice flash coming in.
Oh, can they kill him? Or and that's going to be it. Tim's. He dives out, but he will tick out to the ancient apparition in a minute. So 3, 2, 1. Very nice coordination coming up. Even though it's a support, a kill's a kill, and that's going to be gold. That contributes to the Blink Dagger timing. TP in from our Wind Ranger. There are a lot of heroes mid here for MVP, so Jubru he has spotted out Wind Ranger. Borav's going to keep on chasing. Lasso is available. Stun gets thrown out, so no one gets Lasso. They do get the silence into Ardbed. Very, very nice stop from Chemo as well as an ult. It will keep to a place. Ardbed trying to go for a kill, but Mike does no damage. He gets slowed down by him trying to wind run, but no, Lasso is there, and Ardbed's gonna get taken down. That's the mid cured here for Execration. They should look to grab this tower as well. Even though Chrono is up, the follow-up for Execration, it's looking rather weak. Early on, Wind Ranger's not really doing that impressive damage. If the Elder Titan doesn't his own Earth Split, he doesn't do that much either. Enix really being the only one that can really contribute if there's a disable this up, so I think the draft is the wonkiness of the draft is gonna hurt Execration compared to their previous draft. Oh dear, they're gonna actually lose the other one here, I believe. Chemo trying to walk out, looks like it's gonna be okay, but he took a lot of damage off of that. Stomp is there, does not connect. Tower gets taken down. Chemo, be careful, you're walking Firefly. That hurts. Jeez. There we go, tower taken down and MVP
has fallen.
Getting a grip of this game, and this is the Korean squad.
Yeah, the biggest problem for Execration is that they need a really structured fight. They need the Chronosphere or a Stomp to start things off, and then they really need to be able to ideally kill 2 heroes in the Chrono if they have any hope of winning the team fights. The Sven is getting scary, but it's still going to take him picking up a couple more items, I think, especially this Blink Dagger coming out before he's really going to be able to do anything, because as the Sven this game, he really needs to be able to blink in and then just kill one person immediately, otherwise he's going to be kited around in circles non-stop because of the sticky, because of the cold feet, there's crushes coming out, there's boulder smash, and not to mention all of the Viper slows as well. So still going to take a little while for Execration to really find their feet, and while that's happening, MVP is going to keep on taking these outer towers, start building up a bit of a gold lead.
Not just a bit of a... quite a bit soon, if anything. Leading by about 2k net worth, so this is good news. MVP. Execration, though, they are converted, or at least converged into this myth. Trying to look for heroes, no one's here, and the Observer Ward definitely guarantees that no one's around, so I have no idea where MVP is, and MVP is actually in the Rosh Pit. Does Execration know this is happening? It looks like the idea of it, at least. Smoker's deployed, their whole team is going, every ultimate on both sides is up. They run into Dubu first, silence onto Chemo, the shackle doesn't land, they're gonna go straight for the lasso onto Ivan. Chrono onto 3 from RR, the follow-up from... Oh my gosh, everything is melting. This fix cooking MVP in their own shell. That's 2 taken down, super... Everyone is trying to run, but MP gonna drop. They do get onto the void with the help of the AA. They're gonna try and burn down 4M here. The kick lands onto Tim's, who's rather low now. Jubu and Femi come in. So they won't be able to grab the Phoenix as of yet. No, the ult gets connected. Tim's gonna live for that little bit longer. 3 for 3 so far. The squad's still sticking around for them. They're gonna play with this Phoenix a little bit. They get the kill onto Tim's. Kick is there. Though he's here, getting a stun, gonna try and finish off Febby, but this is without his ult, and without it, can he kill off Febby? He gets that one hit, dominating, ending Nando's pockets, and when all that's said and done, the only survivor of either squad was the Sven on Execration, Earth Spirit, on MVP. So obviously the breadwinner here would be the
Yeah, the Sven actually has a ridiculous net worth at this point. If you look at the net worth chart, he's what, pretty much I guess 3.2k ahead of the Slardar right now, and just getting scarier and scarier. I think if you're MVP, you give some thought right now to maybe going straight into finding a pickoff and then trying to take the Roshan again, since you know that the big ultimates for Execration are on cooldown, at least for a little bit, but they haven't really picked themselves up all that quickly. Looks like they're just gonna go in and farm up a couple more items instead.
I'm worried this is getting so big, especially after that team fight as well. MVP, they have to acknowledge that Nando is getting farmed, and they need something to deal with them. Scenario here for MVP, like they don't even have that can effectively counter them. Like, really you'd want some Phoenix and any sort of BKB done, so a Phoenix and that would have been perfect in dealing with the Sven, but they don't have that, so a slippery slope here if anything for MVP. They are going to attempt this Roshan again. Execration, have they caught sight of this yet? Haven't, so just be a free one going in the way of MVP. I don't know this is happening. It's going to be a free one for them. Yeah, going to be very happy that.
Well, the Elder Titan scattered things out.
Oh, actually, oh my gosh!
Aegis on the ground.
Aegis is still on the ground! Oh my gosh, what a disaster coming in for MVP! Gets taken by the ancient ambition of all heroes and just turns into a complete disaster. Elder Titan gets caught on the high ground. Bebby trying to run away. There's nothing to cancel the TP, so he's gonna be okay, but
oh,
Sven's hitting their base. Wasn't even there. He took the tier 2 and he's just chopping with top lane.
Lost that game. The setup of the Titan with the stomp into a Chronosphere, into Sunray. That was just a picture perfect scenario. They did get the Aegis, but that really doesn't matter. Oh, the stun onto Bebby. They get the kill on the AA4. Goes Blasto, but he's here by himself. Nando's so tanky. Here comes support Execration. They've got Arbed. No, Arbed. They just want to run away, and Nando gonna go for a TP himself. Is there anything to cancel? They have the crush. Kill him off with bow. But what a series of events, and BKB gets picked up by the Sven right now. So there's practically nothing outside the lasso that's gonna be able to control the Sven. BP disaster.
I think they were just a little bit. They were a bit slow in making that decision that they wanted to go and try and take the Roche. I think if they'd gone immediately as a 5-man group as soon as they'd all respawned, I think that they get that fairly easily before the Chronosphere is back up, but they dawdled just a little bit. I don't know if there was an item or a level that they were waiting for. I saw that QO when he respawned was just a little bit short of level 11, so maybe the call was made, okay, I'm gonna wait for my level 2 amplify damage so that we make the Roshan a little bit quicker, but that delay ended up costing them really big. I really feel for Dubu as well. He was waiting on the outside of the pit. He knew that there might be an initiation coming. He's gonna jump on mid.
Not bad. Gets taken down very quickly. That was a standard keyword. Going for small pickoffs like that, obviously not high risk, but if you're MVP, right, you would look for as many kills as possible, and he runs into 2. Oh, he does not get stunned. Halfway through the animation, and Nando would have actually been able to grab that, but they're still here. They need to catch him out, but the lasso is there. There's a trap for MVP, but never gets deployed. BKB as well, but Nando with that Chronosphere. BKB's still there. They're trying to man fight QO. Can they kill off this fish? No, he goes the other way. He's still alive. They don't get the kill on Lada. And Nando, he may actually run into QO, but he's not going to go up the hill. QO's going to go down, goes for the vision, instantly backs out, and an instant Nando. And the crush came way too late, but that's Chronosphere coming out from RR. Huge misplay. They're going to blink forward. They're trying to look for QA with the help of Arbed, but they can't get it. Vision is too difficult, especially at nighttime. Jeez.
Dire's top tower has fallen.
Just ended up being a support exchange at the end of the day, but Execration used their big teamfight abilities, so I think that's a win for
10-second
MVP. Yeah.
That was rough. I could feel the anger from Nando. Not anger. Feel the disappointment when Nando's like, Buddy, we've been friends for a long time. Not acceptable.
It's like, you just wasted 4 seconds of my 10-second BKB. I'm bad. I mean, didn't take any damage for it, but that was really not ideal from Execration's point of view. But can't MVP go and do anything? They've got another little smoke gank moving out right now. They've got the Aghanim Scepter up on the Viper, and they do have some pretty good vision. They need the silence, I think, from the Earth Spirit to land here. Yeah, they get it.
They got it. Beautiful pickup. Very, very nice kill onto RR. No chance for him to blink either. MVP, step in the right direction, just go for these small smoke kills. Open up the map a little bit more and then transition them into towers as well. Going into mid now as the Void's down for 30. Also no buyback as well, so this is a bit of a sticky situation. Execration. They're gonna give this up. They know that without the Void they're that comfortable. Even though you have a KB on the Sven, you honestly would want to give yourself the best possible chance of at least. Just wait for the Void. Tower might drop or tower will take damage, but
Radiant's bottom
it's gonna be okay. Q actually going forward, going for a jump onto Tim's. Kick is there as well to keep this Phoenix at bay. They do Void back. Chrono is available. He's gonna TP in, and looks like MVP. They caught sight of this. They see he's back. Gonna back up. Faint back on this there, but the lasso instantly on stand. Before he can even do anything, BKB still want to help. But there's a Chrono on the as well as Dubu. Stun ready to follow up, and they're burning. Supernova as well. Abed's chasing down QO. That's one dead so far. Now it's gonna be two. Femi gonna be hiding with the Glimmer Cape as well. Going into the tree line. The stun's not gonna connect. QO just blinks out of there. He's gonna be okay. Femi will go down as well. 3 dead for MVP, and Execration this time they lose absolutely nobody, and they're gonna storm right down that middle lane to tower. Complete opposite scenario of their previous team fight.
Yeah, I was worried for a second there when Nando didn't immediately pop the BKB as he jumped in, but it was way too tanky for MVP to burst down immediately, and well, looks like Execration have the upper hand now. They're winning team fights, they're pushing buildings, and continuing to get fatter and fatter on this Sven.
Sven's fat. He is. Is there
Gargantuan?
A word for
I don't know.
Just a creative word for being fat. He's not skinny, he's fat. This is a really, really good game for Execration. Because if you compare the two drafts, would you say that ease of execute? Who would you say for either squad has? Each team can actually make more mistakes in team fights.
I think it's Execration just because they always have kind of the high ground and the team fight fall back on. It is still difficult for them to get the initiation, and a lot rides on the Faceless Void, not getting blink crushed or not getting silenced or not getting lassoed, but just because they don't have that timer kind of looming over them, I think you really have to give it to the Dire team.
The MVP again to their old shenanigans, looking for some more aggression. They go over the tree. Alright, looking for the link. They do catch no. They do catch RR. They're gonna try and blow them up as soon as possible. Silence is there. There's no crow now. Execration. And again, no buyback. They get the catch onto Tim's, but he out of there quite nicely. So he's completely A-okay. Nando here, but he's gonna be able to waltz out of there as there was vision for MVP just letting him out. I think this is the right play for MVP. Just every single time, if you take that Void out of the fight, that's a whole lot of control that's not available. They do go in with Chemo a little bit. The stun is there from Nando. Completely obliterates Dubu. Has no vision of Femi. Dust gets deployed. They know where the Ancient Apparition is now, so they really want to kill him off. Chemo's going to chase him down. QO, bit of trouble as he's actually surrounded by 2 now. Here comes 4F. Supernova gets deployed. The Phoenix is going to be A-okay. Nothing is going to be in his way as the stun lands and Nando gets a kill onto the bat. They're going to keep on chasing with. They want QO, the laser. Tim's? What? Nando called G, and I think that was an accident. Because, okay, that was rather curious, because if Tim's didn't have to type there, they actually would have killed QO. But...
oh man.
That was not what happened.
That was... it's gonna have to unbind that, just like Matumba Man did. That Manila, it's exact same situation, right? You're ahead, and the
misclick and then you'll be like, oh no, sorry, it's fake.
It's like, oh wait, no, wrong thing on my chat wheel. It's one over.
Gonna catch Dubu, but this is a chronosphere used for this. They do kill him off, but Sphere. Ice Blast gonna catch up with everybody though. Painful, but actually would have been able to get the kill onto QO there, but Tim's having to time. Actually gets caught out by the back rider. Pipe gets deployed, and he's gonna be here for a little bit longer, but they still got Or I'm gonna keep on chasing. Looks like the Phoenix will drop at least. Is gonna let his teammate go to death as they've actually found this void as well with help of that Yule's gonna keep on running, but he's being slowed, gets pushed into the high ground, does have time walk, gonna go a little bit further and tries to TP, but will he survive? No, gets taken down by Fora who blinks right on top of
To a crisp.
Execration, using a couple of stragglers who were trying to retreat but getting caught out instead. And Roche, luck for Execration is not up. If that was up, knowing MVP gone into that right now, knowing that there was no Phoenix and that there was no Faceless Void.
Yeah, I think Execration got ahead of themselves a little bit. I don't know if the accidental alt chat GG, they kind of, everyone was stressing about that in the meantime, but MP jumped.
They actually managed to catch on to MP. They finished up with Nando's, popped his BKB. They want to commit onto Dubu instead. Chase him down though, gonna be kicking these stones left, right and center. QA's in a position to at least disengage if necessary, but beautiful play, getting at Dubu, coming through. Nando's on the high ground, but QA just over blinking at Link. Over on the high ground, just danced around this Phoenix. It's a lasso onto him as well. There is no dive available onto Tim's. He will be able to supernova if necessary, but they're gonna keep on chasing onto this bat. The lasso's not so. Yule's gonna buy some time, so he's okay. Tim's just burning on the high ground. He's like, when does this end? Finally ends. Gonna wait for the 15 seconds for the dive to come off cooldown, but still, it's another 3 heroes dead for MVP. Just every single time, it's been negative trades. There's really not been any trades. This is that Chrono. He really wanted the flow, but QA's blinks have been on point all game. Someone give this guy a Snickers.
So at this point, Execration making a couple of mistakes here and there, but they're still just so far ahead. The Sven is huge. I think the Viper is really, in this game, supposed to be the one who kind of deals with the Sven for MVP. They've got enough survivability that he doesn't jump in and blow somebody up immediately, then they get the Viper strike off, it's only got a 10-second cooldown, you can just keep kiting him around in circles, but we've gotten to the point where the tables have kind of turned on them, and it's actually MP who's just getting, 2 or 3 shot by the Sven in every single fight, and without that Viper strike to in check, Nando's just going absolutely berserk. A little bit of a win for MVP though, like you said, they dodged that chrono, so might be able to come in and grab the Roshan here, but I think Execration may actually still be able to fight.
They're going to go high ground? They actually get the lasso onto Nando now. Can they kill him in time? QA coming with 3-man Blink Rush. Managed to keep his entire team at bay, but Nando comes in. Dubu can pull drops. They could not kill Nando. MP have up the ghost at the divine time. He gets Yuled up. Stopped as well. Cut to pieces by Nando. That's by Pursuit. QA gets chased down by Ahmed, who's got his Ag, as well as the Blink. Gonna keep on chasing to kill him off. Misses the power shot. Crushes there. Gonna try and man fight QA. Armlet toggle. Wind run. QA finally drops after a majority of the fight. MVP get wiped off the face of the planet. And nobody on Execration died. It's so upsetting for MVP. Every single time they've tried to finish, or at least jump onto Nando first with the Blink Lasso pull, they just don't have the damage output to kill him off. He's just too tanky.
Yeah, I think they really... It's hard because to kill him, they need to drop everything on him, but if Kyo doesn't go blinking into the backline the way that he did there, then the Echo Stomp is going to come out, and then that's what Execration are going to use to counter-initiate. So it's kind of a damned if you do, damned if you don't. If he'd blink crushed the Sven, they would have got stomped. But because he blinked into the backlines, they didn't have that little bit of extra damage and that little bit of extra lockdown that they needed to be able to kill him. So at this point, Execration have Aegis in hand. MVP have made comebacks before in this kind of a game with this kind of a lineup where they can run around and find these individual pickoffs, but the one thing that's really lacking for them right now is the map control. They don't have any vision over on the dive side of the map, so don't really have any opportunities to make plays.
You also say it's that they don't really have the heroes to have an effective comeback because they're running. I hate bashing on the Viper, but this game just goes later and later. It eventually becomes redundant because he's doing right now not really contributing to the team by that much. He's literally just going out Viper striking, going for a mechanism, and then Ghost Sceptering to survive a little bit. That's about it. Like the contribution for the Viper becomes less and less as the game goes later and later. Like ideally, if first supports, they go for a jump here onto Kimo, but the shadow coming up for Ahmed, catches down on both. Kimo will drop, but they're gonna get QO. Forum has to Ghost Scepter and run out of there. Everyone in full Viper strike thrown out onto the Ben to try and slow them down, but MP gets shackled to taken down by the big bad knight. Chrono gonna catch out on the two more as well. Dubu and Forev might be it for the Korean Overlords as they just get completely cleaned up by Execration. Just Ghost Scepter's buying time, but at this point MVP, they've been playing a game of cat and mouse and they've never been the cat this game.
Yeah, they just can't do anything in team fights at this point, and if you can't win team fights, you can't push, can't keep moving forward. Nice Ice Blast, looks like they will get this Aegis, but kind of that.
Their entire lineup. Like, take a look at the gold swing as well. It's just getting worse and worse. Like, you look at the graph as well, it's just dipping all the way down. Eventually, we're just going to reach the bottom of the ocean. No signs of life here for MVP. But honestly, the best scenario would be high ground defense. Every single time they've never been able to get what they're looking for. Kills the Sven, gonna buy some time. He actually got net up by that troll. Kimmy gets deployed, but they're gonna keep on chasing divers through with Tims. They will at least try to buy some time. Catch him out though. It looks like it should be okay. Blink is available, lasso as well. It depends if they can cancel this onto 4. It's gonna go straight onto the bird. That's gonna be there onto QA. Crushes there as well. Looks like it's gonna be the end of Tims. It's done coming out from Nando. Can they finish up QA? They do take him down with the help of Abed and that Sven. Oh, complete Chemo, but again, MVP being chased like mice across the map. They wanted to kill, but they end up getting killed themselves. So each hero, we're gonna start carving up some grist for these MVP heroes. It really looks like this might be the end for MVP. Just every single time they try to kick back, they just get completely over by Execration. Oh god, Febby, not like this. Not like this, Febby. Buyback as well. Gonna try and buy some time. He's got Ice Block, the rest of his team, and no buybacks. Are practically gonna be the entire base of MVP up and finished up as well. First set of axes up top taken. Me just hiding in that bottom lane because he knows if he shows himself, he's just gonna get jumped on and killed. Middle tower taken. They need to buy some time. The supports are back up. They've got the starter coming up as well, but Kieran by himself. More than that, but you need more than QA. You need everybody. By the time they get up, it's just going to be too much damage done. 3 racks is taken by Execration, and P. They're literally hanging on a sliver of hope, and that sliver of hope going to be enough.
I mean, even that last fight when MVP were chasing, the thing that they're saying to themselves when they're chasing is, "There's no Sunray, there's no Chronosphere. Surely we can make something happen here," and even with all of that weighing Execration down, still really handedly win that fight. The Wind Ranger had really middling farm pretty much for the whole game, but now that they've started winning fights, she's up in the number 2 spot, contributing a ton of damage, and yeah, this is probably the last hurrah for MVP. We got a Daedalus for the Sven now as well. He's also eaten up a Moon Shard, so I didn't know if it was possible, but he's actually even scarier now than he was in the last couple of fights.
Alright, so unfortunately for me, I've run into some unfortunate circumstances. I will have to tap out here, base skip, so I'm really, really sorry.
That's alright. No problem.
Sorry. Pleasure casting. Tap out. GG everyone, and fingers crossed if MVP can bring this game 3.
Alright, we've got potentially one final fight here for Execration. They move in, they've got the Lotus Orb on the Physics Void, they jump in, they're considering the Chrono. Nice silence from Dubu. The Lasso is overrun of the Phoenix. They've got the Ice Blast flying in as well, but the Shackle connects on 2. Right as QL is jumping in, he's saved for a little bit longer. Getting auto attack down, he will end up burning. The good game comes out. That's going to be the end of this one. is going to be Execration taking this series 2-0 and eliminating MVP. And I guess that's that. We've got another series coming up later. Lyrical's gonna have to help me out here and tell me what exactly that is. Alright. Okay, so the next series is going to be Maneski versus WG. Thank you very much, guys, for